Greetings, my peeps. I am John the Verbose, and this video is my YTpaganChallenge video for week 31 on how important are the use of altar tools. I should begin with my disclaimer. I am John the Verbose. I am a Druid in the Reformed Druids of North America, and although I'm a Druid, I do not speak on behalf of all Druids, nor do I speak on behalf of all Reformed Druids. My thoughts, views, and opinions are my own. So, let's dive in. Altar tools. I do have an altar. I am developing a second altar. This one here is kind of an extension of this altar because this one is very small. This one is ancestral. This has been in my family for generations. It was made in the somewhere in the 1880s, 1890s at the latest. You can tell by the style of the drawers. It has, as you can see, shows up better here. You can see by the style of the drawers that this type of jointing is called a nap joint, and it was only made from like the 1870s to like 1895. So this altar is very significant, but it's just not big enough for everything that I want to put on it. And so this is also coming from myself, who's trying to be a minimalist. Particularly in the Reformed Druid tradition, there is no actual need for like a personal indoor altar. Most of the time, our altars are outdoors. They're in nature. They're rocks that are there, or you stack some rocks and call it an altar. That's not even a requirement. You don't even need that. And so I do have my indoor altars for when I really just don't feel like going outside, because Druids are supposed to do it outside, if you pardon the pun. But as far as the tools go, the only, I do burn some incense here, and I've got herbs in here and in here. These ones are a special mixture from Jake, and this pendant was, this little gem charm was made by Jake. So thank you, Jake, if you're watching. It has a special place on my altar. And I do have my black obsidian ball, which is fun to try with scrying, though again, it's not needed. It's like I view any tools as a learning guide, and ultimately, once you have learned, it is a crutch. So if you can shed the material items and just do stuff, then I think you're starting to get onto something. You're growing. You've made it. Keep growing, though. Always keep growing. Keep learning. Keep practicing. That is at the very core of this. Is you must practice your art, your craft, your gifts, whatever it may be. Important altar items as a Reformed Druid for me is I have this sickle here, and this is actually, the technical term for this is a grape hook knife. This one is made by Ontario Cutlery, and so these are very affordable, very sharp. It is carbon steel, which means it will rust. This is my second one. I'll show you my first one in a minute. It was starting to corrode. I kept sanding it after every time I used it, just to polish it out and keep it from rusting. And so ultimately I put clear nail polish on it just to keep the surface of it from rusting, and then I really only have to worry about the blade. So, but this is really convenient because, at least in Minnesota, blade length is measured from where the sharp end begins to the tip of the blade. So they don't measure the curve, they only measure this exact distance. And so rather than having this huge knife or bowline or a sickle, then this one I know I can use in public without getting a citation for having a knife that's too large. So if you're in California, this might be an option for you, because I know that they use this in wineries to harvest the grapes. So, and I love the crescent shape on this. For the altar tools that I use here, the only other major altar tool is, I shouldn't have claimed it with the tungsten ring, is this chalice. This chalice is from the Vermont Country Store. it is available at some other places. It's made by Mosser Glass. They're based out of Ohio, so this is American made. In the Reformed Druid tradition, this is the type of chalice that was used from the early years. It was very popular because these were at the Five and Dime or Ben Franklin stores. I don't know. They're everywhere. So you can find these in antique stores for like $8. You can buy them brand new for like 12 to 14. I think if you want the cobalt glass, is it cobalt more expensive? I don't know. There's like red, green, and blue. And they have different styles at the Vermont Country Store. So I love it. Beautiful, heavy-duty glass. Speaking of chalices, over here we have more of my chalices that I have kind of assembled out in the open. This is not my normal altar extension setup. But we do have my, well, first we have my mortar and pestle. I use this rather infrequently, and it's usually for culinary purposes, but when I got it, it was supposed to land on my altar, so that's where I store it when I'm not using it. I've got these wonderful silver stemware goblets, and these are just one shot glass, and it's wonderful. We use these for our ADF ritual as little offerings behind the big offering bowl. So it's a shame that most people weren't able to see them because they were behind the offering bowl. But these, I got these at an antique store, and actually it was a birthday gift. Oh, and these make great bells. They all have a slightly different tone, but it's very pure. So, enough of that. So these are good for travel chalices. Also, because in Reformed Druid ritual, the chalice is very important because we're partaking of the waters of life. And if someone's like sick, but they really want to attend the ritual, that's great. And especially if you have a spare chalice or 6, because then you don't have to share germs. But normally, this is my normal chalice. I had this tested for lead. It is lead-free, but it's Italian pewter. And this is also an antique. It's Duratale by Leonard. So Duratale is spelled D-U-R-A-T-A-L-E. These aren't that uncommon, and it's a good, I think this is a 12-ounce chalice. This one is too. It's a little bit more goblet shaped. It's earthenware, so it's good for winter because you don't want your lips freezing to this on the winter solstice or Imbolc when it's sub-zero. And then there's also this smaller one. This is a convenient travel chalice. This one's from Ireland. It was at the Bunratty Castle gift shop. This one's just an earthenware handleless mug, and so this is wonderful. It's good for having outdoor rituals with hot tea. So I try to use hot tea in the winter rather than whiskey, but that has more to do with the Reformed Druid tradition. This is a newer one I found. It's actually a Dijon mustard jar, and the jar, it was designed, like it had an easy peel off label, and it said that these jars are collectible drinking glasses, and so I bought 2 of them. I went through this one already, and I just opened the second jar, so you gotta love Dijon to get through these. But and then this little one is important because when we're ordaining people to like the first and second, and I think third order, we have to, well, it's customary that you are anointed with the waters of life that we pour into the chalice. And so normally, if I can pull that out from here, my waters of life is whiskey or scotch almost exclusively, and then we do have variations as needed. So this one is the Morrigan Irish whiskey. It's okay. It's not the best whiskey, but it's cool. And in our ritual, we pour in whiskey. It's usually diluted, and so we start with natural spring water in here, and then add whiskey to it. And so when we're ordaining someone, they are anointed with the waters of life. So whoever's presiding usually dips their fingers into the waters, which can be rather unsanitary sometimes. So that's why after they're consecrated, I have this little smaller soapstone bowl, and I pour in some of the waters of life, and that's my anointing bowl. So it that way there's a lot less hand germs, especially if we're drinking the waters and passing them around. And then I have this silver antique bowl, and this was supposed to be an offering bowl, but it ended up as my bling tray, more like a bling bowl. So it holds all my bling in here, sigil necklaces, other necklaces, and silver items. And that's fine. Oh, what do we got here? Oh, shit. Also, for travel altars, we have this little messenger bag. I love this messenger bag so much. I got it at Target a few years ago, and they don't have anything remotely like it anymore. But this is a good bag for a travel altar. And so that's very important for Reformed Druids. I also refer to this as my emergency Druid kit. So we have this. This is from a pet store. You may recognize it if you have chinchillas. This is called a chinchiller. It is a slab of granite that's polished, and it's for chinchillas to sit on so they don't overheat. And I think it's great as a portable altar. And so I've got this little cask here, and in it is portable altar cloth if need be, or just something to keep it padded. Inside is also one of my other sickles. This is the one that's got a little bit of, like, I couldn't sand out the, well, it looks more like tarnish than corrosion, but this has seen a lot of use. It's coated in clear nail polish, and it has tiger's eye on the end. With this second one, I haven't put anything on it yet, but let's see, where is it? Here. So here I have this tiny piece of Carnelian, and I want to put that on the end of this handle. So and I've got another tiger's eye one too. I want to get a third one, but basically this one will become my altar table one. It stays at home, and then this one that I'm going to put the Carnelian in is going to go in my traveling kit so that I never forget it. Because one of the things that's important about sickles or bowlines in Reformed Druidry is that before the ritual starts, it's important for the priest to collect a sacrifice, and it's always plant life. By taking of the life of a plant, we have to mindfully know what we're doing. And it's that active realization of that taking of a life that reminds us of how sacred it is. That's just that's the way I wrap my mind around it. If that's not how you interpret things, then that's fine. Because I think that there are some Reformed Druids that might interpret the sacrifice of life differently than I do as well. So let's move back to my portable altar. I've got another one of these chalices here, and I've got my ceremonial ribbon for summer, smaller one in here. And so this one, I actually did find it in an antique store in Northfield, and it very much resembles one that I delivered to the 54th Archdruid of Carleton College. And he was supposed to deposit that in the Carleton College archive, and he kind of disappeared. And then it was, I think, later that year that I was in Northfield, and I saw this at an antique store, and I was like, this isn't it, is it? He didn't sell it, did he? Because they're only reselling it for $8. And so I don't know if, I really don't think that this is the same one that I had him put in the archive that never got there. This is probably a different one because, like I said, these are all over the place. Even in a local antique store down the road in Hopkins, they've got like 16 of these on a shelf, and they're selling them for $8 each. So I don't know what happened to that other chalice, and we tried contacting him. Other people tried contacting him. We don't know where he went or the chalice. So damn. And then we've got some spring water well, purified drinking water. I don't think it's actual spring water, but water for the waters of sleep, and then to that we add the waters of life. So I keep 2 little bottles of Jameson in here. Those normally don't sit on the altar, and then we have some travel pocket-sized liturgies. So we have 2 booklets of the liturgical excerpts from Arda, or a Reformed Druid anthology. And so this one is the unofficial tweaked pocket edition adapted for Oakdale Grove. The common order of worship for summer, first order ordinations, second order ordinations, and the entirety of the Book of Meditations. And then also, as part of my emergency Druid kit, is the ordination of third order Druids into the Order of Dalinep Landu. So, and that, we won't open that because it's kind of secret. So, so that has come in handy before. Very few altar tools. I have a few athames, but I don't use them. They're not part of my druidic practice. And they're kind of scattered around somewhere. So a couple last things. This stick is a piece of sumac that was being strangled by a vine. So I don't use wands. But this it'd be like a cool wand if somebody used wands, but I don't. But I like the stick. So that's why I was using it as a pointer stick. Forgot to mention that out. But the important thing is regarding wall hangings. I do not use wall hangings because of a few close calls I've had with candles. And especially if they're taper candles and they're not seated properly, it really doesn't matter. If you have an open flame, my rule is keep the open flame about a foot away from anything that can catch fire, and that's in like a spherical radius. So if you've got a wall hanging right up against your altar, please don't put any candles within a foot of it. So yeah, especially if they can lean or tip, or if a breeze, like from walking by the wall or air vents or something, if a breeze can catch wall hangings, tapestries and whatnot, and bring it over the flame itself or close to the heat of the flame, you're risking like major fire. So I've had a few close calls, so that's why I don't do wall hangings. As pretty as they are, it's just not worth it. So that's my advice. So thank you, see you next week.